It's not a wish, not that against all odds something might happen. Biblically, it is a certainty, and it deals with the great question of your being. It's eternal. What happens when you die? What happens when Jesus comes? What is the fulfillment of all time and life according to the plan, the purpose, and the program of God? To have hope is to have certainty, have a great expectation, to look forward to it, to have confidence in it, that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, that if I die or if I live and He comes and returns, I have nothing to fear because I have made my peace with Him. To know that it's settled and you just have this great hope, this great anticipation, and this very real expectation. Now, I've heard things about churches that you say, if I would say to someone that's going to another church, some people do that like restaurants. They do. And they don't know what it is to be part of the family of God, to enter into the sheepfold, to know brothers and sisters in the faith. And they set themselves up to be better than. And they might not say that in so many words, but I'll tell you this, that if, God forbid, you have to have your arm amputated, you know whether it's the body or the arm that's going to continue to live. And the church of Jesus Christ will continue. What's the summary? What do you see in that church? What do you not see in that church? I hear all manner of things, like the music, like the windows, like the age group, like the gifts and graces of the people. Like the pastor, why not lead the church? Why lead the church? I don't like the pastor. I don't like the music. I don't like these people. What if someone asked you why you came to church? Wouldn't it be neat if you heard somebody say, you know what I like about that church? There's so much love there. So much love.
That is what they feel about this church.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
You feel that love, okay?
Amen.
Okay? You don't feel the judgment. What if someone said, how do you get a church? You know what, the faith is so strong there. Faith. You know what they believe. Sound. It's good teaching. Somebody said, it's hope. I feel like everything's going to be all right. The hope. I can't say I've ever heard of a church, let's say, capitalize on that. Say, here's a place. Are you looking for faith, love, and hope? Here, right over here, at that place, you'll find it, okay? But in the church of Thessalonica, hope is waning. Sounds like I just took my name in vain. It's waning. Hope is going down. All right? Hope is sinking. Not keeping your eyes on Jesus. Maybe it's just apt to say, it's, oh, woe is me. Woe are we. All right? Yeah, woe are we. And it's a lie of Satan to have you discouraged and despondent and down. What you find in 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse number 3, is this: we are bound to thank God always for you, brethren, as it is fitting, because your faith grows exceedingly, and the love of every one of you all abounds toward each other. Verse 4, so that we ourselves boast of you among the churches of God. For, note this, I underlined in my Bible, your patience and faith in all, and I underlined in my Bible, your persecutions and tribulations that you And then I underlined the word endure. So that we have something to hang these things on this morning, I have picked 3 words. One is depression. You might have reason for it, you might not have, of some nature. To be clinically depressed is really serious, but not impossible for God. A great prayer is always to pray, Lord, help me to see things the way they really are. Though I tell you that there was a man in this congregation some years back that was telling me how dark and dismal it looked in his life as far as his job was concerned. And I suggested to him that he take a piece of paper, that he draw a line, that he had 2 columns, and he lists the good things and the bad things. I said, you'll be surprised what's good. He came back to me and he said, I did that, and he says, I discovered that things are far worse than I thought. I said, really? But in time, this is what I realized, and I think he knew it all along. He was not talking about the thing that was wrong. The thing that was wrong, he was never talking about. It was not his finances, it was his marriage. And his focus was on the wrong thing. He really was not being honest. Here's the thing with the church of Thessalonica. Paul says in this correspondence, look, you have had trouble, persecution. And look, you have endured. Now, who do you suppose has brought you through this? This is what you and I need to do. We need to look back over our life and see his movement, his working, and recognize that even when we have that doubtless of spirit, who is it that has brought us safely thus far? And who is it that will carry us through? I tell you this morning, during the darkest moments of my life, in the fall of 1989, 1 month after an event that will ever be ingrained in my brain and heart, our family went to Lancaster County and visited another church during Thanksgiving that corresponded in date with my daughter, deceased, her birthday. I prayed that I would receive a message from God. I often do that. I suggest you do that. So that in the place that we were staying, I pulled out my Gideon Bible in the morning and I started reading some of the Psalms. And I prayed that prayer, Lord, really need a word from you today. We went to the service. And do you know that the preacher that day picked the same psalm that I read that morning? Isn't that curious? Isn't that curious? And then he took a deep breath and he said something. I know it was a run-on sentence. I know. It just went on and on and on and on and on, and it meandered here and took twists and turns, and then he said, therefore we are thankful. And I said, yes. And I say to you this morning, therefore we are hopeful. We are hopeful. Don't believe the scam of the adversary. And the second thing is oppression, depression, oppression. Your persecutions and tribulations, verse 4.